Okay, now we're recording. And
Okay.
so just to explain what we are doing here, this is a demo for the upcoming app making workshop for TLC, and I am with Sonel. So he's gonna be a how do you call it? Like
Student.
a student, like a demo student, to
An
see
actual
to give
student.
me some feedback, right?
Yeah.
So I'll try to make this as fast as possible. So right now, if you're watching this video, go ahead, open up your browser and put in the link here, the starting point one, and you will see a page with a bunch of nonsense like code in your browser, and on the right hand side is a fake phone, and you can switch between Android and iOS,
yeah.
like that. So what you can do is actually, this is app already. It's a Hello World app. So if we click on tap and play, see if it gives us, yeah, we're not waiting, because sometimes what happens is the network is busy, the compiler for that company is busy, so it will take time. But now we get the result of this exact piece of code. It says hello world. This app, it's gonna sell for 1 million because it says only hello world, and it does absolutely nothing. Right, so what we are gonna do today is to make basically a BMI calculator, and what it does is take two inputs. It takes your weight and it takes your height and calculates a BMI. That is an indicator of if you are, healthy, according to some ratio of your height and weight.
Okay. I
For-
have
for
a question.
Hi.
So before we start,
Yeah.
could you explain what these things are, or are you gonna do it like
I'm gonna do it like
when you're explaining?
Yeah, when it's necessary. Right now, because I just want to let you see what we're gonna get.
Like which language it is and etc.
This is a JavaScript based program,
Okay.
and at this point, because our audience is not really about making a differentiation between other languages. So, and I think JavaScript for this purpose, it's a good starting point. So I just want to see what we're gonna get today by the end of this tutorial, what we're gonna actually make by the end of this. So the second link I posted on the PowerPoint and I'm sending to Sonel right now is the finished version. That means I fill in all the blanks beforehand. So if you click tap to play on this one, you should see a BMI calculator. Extremely simple. You put in your height in meters and you put in your weight in kilograms each, and click on that one single button. It gives you your BMI. You should use your right. You need to use your. So right now, Sonel is having a problem because this simulated environment is not the best for testing.
Okay.
The reason why I like this particular piece of technology is instead of tap and play using this web-based environment, you can actually do it on your phone.
Yeah.
So if right now, I assume all of you have a phone, and you wait, okay. Instead of tap and play, you remember there was a button saying do it on your device.
Okay, what should I click? That's the option I'm getting on Android.
You need to download the Expo app first.
Open with Expo.
So if you don't have that, you need to install it first.
Okay.
Right. That's what I forgot to tell people to do beforehand. Yeah, that should be the very first thing that I tell people to do.
Yeah, I just opened the code.
Yeah, no, you need to go to Google Play and download Expo.
Okay.
Expo client, I think it was the call. Okay. So
is this the app Expo?
Yeah, it's called Expo. So click on that.
Is this the right symbol?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Good.
Yeah. So I already have that on my device. So after.
Oh, it worked.
It worked. It's slow.
But it's taking time.
It's taking time. Slow. So I want you to do on your phone.
Yeah. Just a second. Let
Yeah,
it
our
install
student is
first.
downloading, so it will take time. But all right, let's just wait. And at the same time, I might just explain a little bit of what
Please do.
JavaScript is and
Yeah.
what is this.
And can you explain what is import? What is this from doing here? What
Right.
is export
Right.
default class and stuff?
Right. Let's explain from the left-hand side, the project layout side,
Okay.
because that's all the file. Because every program is nothing but files.
Right.
Like computers knows files, and the thing we see on the middle main area here is the content of this app.js file, and this file combined with all other three files on the same project folder, it's gonna give us this application. So for our purpose, if you click on readme.md, it's
Right.
readme.md. It's a markdown file that I put there to just give you some information. This thing is just basically a Word document, but
Right.
you know, it's not it's just not a Microsoft Word, but it's just for information purpose. You don't have to change anything on this.
Right.
It tells you something how to use this application. And package.json, you don't have to worry about that at this point yet, because I've done that for you. All it does is basically tell the computer when it tries to make this app happen, what does it need beside the code we write, because the computer have to understand what we write, and to do that it needs a separate program. And this React Native paper thing, it's one of the dependencies. That's what we call it. But you know, I'm just explaining. You don't have to know what does it actually mean. And assets, you see another folder called assets. That's where we are gonna store all the pictures and that sort of thing. We are gonna use in this application, because you know, aside from text, we might need some pictures in our application. So we now jump right back into app.js. This is the only file today we're gonna make change to, and that's gonna be enough for us to make a BMI calculator. And the first few lines, 1, 2, 3, it's called import. It's the same as what we call dependencies before. It's telling the computer, okay, what do I need? What are you gonna use? Because coding, it's basically building things on top of other people's building blocks. Somebody before us, they have built the infrastructure for Android and iOS for us to use. So as we perceive, we're gonna maybe use text, we're gonna maybe use view, style sheet, and input text, buttons. Those things, those components are what we're gonna use later on in our program. So let's just let computer know we're gonna do this. So it's gonna download coding things.
And how does the computer know what does text, view, or style sheet mean?
It's getting magical because as the first kind of tutorial about programming and app making, we want to abstract as many things as possible away. So at this point, all you need to know is like somehow magically by saying import curly bracket and some keywords, the computer is gonna know where to grab things from. And of course, later on, there are details about how it actually knows.
When I'm hovering the mouse over it, there's a tooltip which says class text input, import text input.
Yeah.
Any ideas on what this is?
Yeah. So we don't see those files on this particular page, but what in the end those things means is that they have to know what kind of component you use. So when they compile, so-called compile, meaning translating this piece of code into actual zeros and ones that my iPhone, and your Android phone will be able to understand. So we really don't need to worry about this sort of thing that much right now. So do you have your thing downloaded?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Put it up on the app.
So
do you want to test it?
Yeah, Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so my height is meters, right?
Right, meters.
Meters to
Feet.
feet, yeah.
Alright.
I need a converter.
While you're converting stuff, I'm gonna tell the audience how to do it on your phone. So once you downloaded the app, you need to go this run button here, and it's gonna ask you for device ID. And once you open up your Expo app on your phone, it's under the project section.
5 feet 10. That's my height.
Let's scroll down all the way down. You see a device ID. You put in your device ID and say save. Let me do it right now. My device ID is just 5B
170
and dash
inch.
FA
Sorry, 70.
1C. So you do that, and you click on the recently opened project. You will see the end result on your phone, which is a BMI calculator. Nothing surprising. Let me get rid of preview. Right. So right now, if you make any change to this file, your phone is going to automatically update the code end result on your phone.
Okay.
And it's going to be faster than that tap to play environment. Right? You can play around with this BMI calculator end result, and unfortunately for people watching this video, you're not gonna see the end result from my phone. Let me see if I can pause it. I can pause it, so let me just okay.
My weight is, I don't know, 75 kg.
Right.
Calculate BMI.
Yeah.
Alert. High. Okay, high. My BMI is 25.
Okay.
I'm on the margin, I guess.
Your margin, marginally overweight, or
No,
I don't know, but
wait, let me calculate my height again. I'm a little bad about this. It should not.
yeah.
My BMI used to be pretty good. Do you know what is standard BMI? You should upload the chart as well in your.
Yeah, but I didn't want to complicate things too much. So that's why I didn't put it in.
I'm 5 feet 10. So how many inches I am? 5 feet, 12, 5, 60 plus 10, 70 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
70 inches to meters. So it's like.
So it depends on your age. It depends on your age.
1 point. I'm 21. I'm 20.
No,
1.7.
BMI range. Sorry for anyone who's watching. So 18.5 to 24.9 is the normal range.
Fuck no! I cannot be overweight. It's
So
impossible. So I'm 5.11 in that case.
So all students getting overweight here, but that's okay. Doesn't stop us from making it. So for people who is watching this video, you can't see it on our phone, but you can still see it on our emulator here if we put in some random number. Let's say 2 meters.
There's a problem in it. You change the number, but
You have to.
It's getting the same result.
It's getting the same result.
Yeah.
All right. That's
Even if I hope even if I'm giving 2, your BMI is infinity. There's a problem. It cannot be infinite when I give 2.
All right. Yes. I'm getting
see?
the same thing. I'm getting the same thing.
Anyway, we'll fix it later.
We'll fix it along the way.
Yeah,
but let's get our graphical
okay.
interface.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Let's go ahead with it.
Working thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. So import. Now we get what is text, view, and style sheet. These are
So now
terms known by computer.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because this is an end result page, it has a bunch of like nonsense in this. So let's go back to the starting point. Okay, that would be easier to explain what is happening here. So let's go back to the starting point one. a bunch of import which you don't need to change at all. And down there, there's a bunch of style sheets as well, which is basically, changing the style to make text align in the middle of
You've resumed the video, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I did. Yes, I did.
Okay.
So why does tap and play just stop there? I want people to see this. Oh, okay, I see. So you see this hello world is like in the center of the thing, and at the same time it's like has a gray background. That's all about what is styles. Constant style equals to style sheet dot create, which is a JX syntax, and you don't have to worry about that right now. Along the way, we'll try to explain that. So that's yeah.
Is it object oriented thing?
This is absolutely object oriented programming.
It's a container.
Yeah.
Then it has some features.
Yeah, it has some features, and you throw this object back to this create function, and it knows how to magically put this property into a form.
Yeah. So we are defining what is style sheet by these things, like, because I mean that's what style sheet means, or it's a known syntax.
Style sheet is a known object to the computer, or I should say to the phone right now.
Okay.
It means for this particular screen, we're going to create a style that contains property like below.
Yeah. Okay.
Whenever we say style equals to container, it's going to consist of these properties. When we say something, it's of a paragraph, it will contain like CSS properties like margin, font size, font weight, and text align, right?
Right. So to call this, is it a function? Constant style.
It's not a function. Constant. It's a variable.
We're declaring a variable, but
it's declaring a variable.
Isn't it the same way we create a function? We declare a function as well.
Not exactly. Here it's more about
creating an object,
creating a variable that the computer is gonna be able to read.
Oh.
You see how these styles on the upper part we get used when we say view styles equals to styles dot container. That's styles dot container. That's how we refer to the styles that we specify down there.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
I understand.
That's okay. For people who is watching this video, we were talking about what these styles means and how they're being referred.
Right.
Yeah. So here view, it's for those who know HTML, that should be pretty straightforward. But for people who is not digging too deep into this, let's just say the const styles and everything follows. It's just a way to specify how the app's gonna look. And I already done this for you, so you don't have to change that at all, neither. And the most important part, or basically the part that we need to control in this app is the export default class app. That is a very complex syntax, and that particular line, we don't have to do that. We don't have to worry about it for now. That basically means, hey computer, give me a screen, right? Give me a screen by saying export default class app. Give me an app screen that has a React, with a template of React component. And what we want to do with this screen is to render. That's what this render bracket and then open curly bracket mean.
That's a function.
Yeah, this is a function. This technically should be a method, but you could understand it as a function for those who know a little bit of programming. So you return a chunk of how do you want the app to look like, chunk of code, so the computer knows what to put on screen. And in this case, we are simply putting a view consisting of text. Actually, we can get rid of this card, I think. Yeah, it might be easier to just get rid of the card component.
Card close or
both. Yeah. Because that makes a less line of code and people will be easier to catch. So we have a view. View is basically a compulsory event. So it wrapped everything. We wrap everything into a view. So
Right.
the phone or the computer knows, okay, we are rendering some sort of view for people to see.
Right.
And
Yeah.
inside of view, we have one single element, which is a text. And the text has a style of a paragraph, which means it's center and it's like has this black color text in it.
Right. Right.
So the styles are already defined for you. You don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
Right now, what I want you to get a taste of how programming work is you change the text of this hello world.
Yeah.
That's what makes the computer displaying hello world. You can change it into anything you want.
My
Right.
name is.
Let's change it into my name is Ivan. So you see right to the right of your screen, the simulator is changing. And if you're using the phone to preview the project, it's also going to change simultaneously as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened if we didn't do it in a correct way? Let's say we forget part of the bracket. Let's say we forget to put one closing bracket on the text, opening text tag. Oops, computer's gonna turn red and
Yeah.
tells you,
Ooh.
oh, now it's unexpected token, and it points to you like, hey, there should be maybe a closing thing to you. So this is what really experience comes into play. Like if you're an experienced programmer, you know in a second you know what it's missing.
Yeah.
Because it says unexpected token basically means your syntax is wrong.
Yes. Yes. Expected token, and then with the mark of 15, the same.
Right,
like,
right. You see, there's a little bit of this little what do you call it? Like arrow pointing to the upward.
Pointing up. Yeah.
Pointing up, saying, it seems something's missing here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's helpful hints, and let's put it back, and the error should goes away, and it works.
Yes.
So the reason why I chose this technology over the originally planned CodeEnvy, the thing is that thing doesn't come with error reporting things like this. It doesn't say, oh, you're wrong somewhere, right? When you did something wrong in your layout and in your code, it just say no, something wrong, and it doesn't give you hints or anything.
Right.
So that is very, very difficult, and that's not how programming should work in the first place. No one will be able to program like this, because without error reporting, you won't be able to progress much, because your program is going to get more and more complicated and more possible error to be made, and without that, it's just not going to work. That's why I wanted to do it in this way. So right now we can change the text displaying on this app. Looks pretty cool. What do we need next to make a BMI calculator? Let's make a
form where that can intake data.
Yeah, let's make basically an input field that people put things into.
Yeah.
To do that, we are actually going to require another component from React Native. By the way, the technology underlying we're using is React Native. So
which one? This one or the whole thing?
The whole thing is based on React Native. The whole thing is based on React Native. And let's get rid of this. Let's change our text into a title for this program. How about it? Let's say it's BMI calculator. Calculator. So that will serve our purpose. So we'll have a title of this application right now. And by the way, this thing is automatically saving every few seconds, so you don't have to worry about accidentally closing your browser. So in order to make text input, we need, guess what, text input component. So somebody has already figure out how a text input should look like on a phone. So it gives us the ability to just tell computer, hey, in the import line 2 from React Native, we want to do something called text input. And the second you start typing text, txt, it gives you hints saying, oh,
Yeah.
do you mean by text input?
Yeah.
Yeah, and say, yeah, we want that. So the
Yeah.
computer, it's like some sort of smart, and it knows like what kind of thing you might want. So now we imported text input, so we can use it underneath.
Right.
So let's under the text closing tag do
in line 18, you mean?
yeah,
In line 18, yeah.
Let's do a text input and give it a closing bracket.
Well, so what's the syntax called? Text input?
Yeah.
Open, right? Sorry.
It should be capitalized. So you see it's hinting you.
Yeah,
text input, and then
okay.
You need to put a slash, because that's a self closing bracket. Put a slash before the closing bracket.
Like this?
Yep. Yeah, let's see if it gives us anything. On the phone it will be faster.
Right.
Let's okay. Simply putting a text input is not going to give any visualized thing on the screen, because it knows there should be a text input there, but it doesn't know how big should it be or what text it should display.
And where it should position itself in the screen.
Yeah, it doesn't know what to do, basically. But we're getting no error, which means the computer recognizes there is a component there. So what we need to do is go over to the okay, I'm going to copy and paste for the sake of being faster here. But what we need to do is give it some properties to this text input tag here.
Okay, could you tell me what properties you want to give? That'd be more helpful.
Okay, so first you need to.
And how do you assign properties, basically?
Yeah, we need to before we close that tag. That is no, it should be like this. So before we close that tag,
there's a space.
Before the backslash, here we can specify, like, let's say style. What kind of style do we want this text input to be?
Okay.
Right, equals. It has to be equals to something. And let me look at my cheat sheet, and style should be. Let me just copy and paste here, and then I'll tell you. It should be a bunch of property.
So there's
a height property.
Do I need to put them in curly braces?
Yeah, you need to put it into double curly braces. That's part of the syntax. And double curly braces. And
so you want me to put a height, height, and say 40 pixels.
Then comma, and then you
border color
grade, and
border color should be, say, red.
I can send you one if you want.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. You want to type out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually good practice to type out to get yourself familiar with the syntax.
Yeah, and then you're saying border width. Border. Do I need to put them? Yeah. They put the second word in capitalized. They started. Okay, border width. Property. Okay, number.
Yeah, colon.
Okay,
border 1.
Say 2.
Oh, you want it 2? That's fine.
Yeah, it's just playing around with things. Number 2, and then
closing bracket. Okay. You need to closing curly bracket.
Wait.
Just do it. It's this.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Done.
So this alignment thing, it's a bit. Let me see how do I change this into non-line wrapping. You see the computer is trying to put one line of code, line 18, into 2 displaying line. So let me see how do I.
Oh yeah, you just pull it a little back and it's done. You see here.
So fast. Oh, how do we do it?
Just do backspace from here.
Backspace?
Up. No, not here. Upwards. In the text input line. No. Press enter. Bring the cursor here. Yeah, now do backspace.
But no, it's doing a text wrapping. Okay. Let me see how do I make this no line wrap. Sorry. This is prettier. Okay.
It's working on this system though.
Maybe it's because let's pause the video for 1 second. Let's resume this recording. So there's one way to get rid of this, like the one line separated into 2 lines situation. That is, we get rid of the preview. Let's get rid of the preview so we have more real estate on our screen. So in that case, we will be able to put things nicer. So now we have one property that is style, and by saying double curly bracket, that tells computer, okay, we are specifying some properties of this input text, right? This let's make 2, right? Because we need both height and weight. Yeah. So let's copy this text input
and make another one, right?
Make another one. Right, now we should see 2.
Yeah, and could you because I opened the first link you sent me, this one, and this is not working. I mean, this is just saying hello world. You see, if I open up this link on my phone, it's just saying
you need to run on your device, right? Run on a device and
wait, this one.
I click run, this button, run.
And I need to give my device ID? No, but I want to run it on my device, not on the simulator.
Yeah, so you put on your device ID and it's going to sync this device to this very Chrome browser tag.
Sure, just a second.
See, it's updating.
Oh, but this is the completed one.
Okay.
This is not the one which we're working on.
Oops. So
try
putting your it's a B79
C
dash 30E3. You save that and it will pop up in a second. Here it has a green light there saying it's live updating. So if you go in there and it has your thing.
Yeah, okay. And I need to cross it down, okay? Right? Can I cross it?
Yeah, you can cross that.
Okay, and if I, just to see whether my device is working, like, I'm creating a third one.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
Something is wrong. Because you didn't close the line 19. Line 19, you didn't close that. So it should give you
and this is working on my device as well. That's all I was checking. Okay, so we have 2 lines, two input fields. Okay, go ahead.
So there's no way that I can show on my audience on this thing on my computer that is watching this video at the same time. So, but that's okay. Let's continue doing that. Now we have 2 input field. Let's see if we can put anything in it.
Yeah, it takes in text.
It takes in text.
It takes in numbers. What else? It takes special characters as well. Yeah.
Okay. So does it display on this thing?
Yeah.
And when you do enter,
wait.
What does it do? So it stays there, right?
It does nothing.
It stays there. That's fine. That's good. And apart from style, and we also want to kind of like tell people what you should put in this field, right? We need some sort of
placeholder.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that is just straightforward as adding placeholder and then something. So placeholder, just put in PLA. It's gonna give you.
No, where shall I put it in? Within text input.
Within text input, yes.
So it's another. So like.
Yeah.
Placeholder. Yeah, there you go.
So you don't need comma here. You need a space there, and then you put equals.
Sorry about that. You can go back to XPath home and try to reload experience. What?
Sometimes goes wrong. So I would suggest you to.
And then
the placeholder text that you want to put in. So you need.
We don't need a double curly braces. No.
Not this time.
We don't need double inverted comma.
No, we need nothing. We just need the text. So let me do this. Placeholder equals
in meters.
Yep, height.
That's it. We don't need to separate these two as well after this.
You need a double. You need a quote. You need double quote around the text.
Yeah, that's what
to tell people say like this is quote.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So height. And then same down there.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah.
All right. What do we?
Okay. How can we do a space like? Okay. No, never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that would give you a light text in the thing that tells people.
Weight in kg. Weight in kg. Okay.
Right. So now we have something real difficult. But I think before we jump into the real difficult thing, let's finish the layout first. Let's add a button, shall we? Just have a button to click on. We create a button by first importing, telling the computer we want a button on the top from React Native.
Yeah.
Button.
You want a button.
I want a button. So down there, before view, after text input, we say button.
Yeah. And then it should be a self-closing tag?
Let me check. I don't think it is.
Is it?
It is a self-closing.
Doesn't say variation. Must be a string. No plus. I'm getting an error message.
You backslash. And then
no, I'm getting an error message after this as well. Not here.
But the title props. Look at your error reporting. The title props of a button must be a string. It means we didn't have a property string on the button component. It makes sense because a button has to have some sort of text to say what it is.
Okay.
Right. So we need to just as the text input, we give it a property called title, and the title should be a string. That is calculate.
So what I'm noticing about this is that it's
title. You need title. You need title.
I need to specify it's a title.
Yeah, title.
I need to put it in double inverted comma. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Is it working?
So title proper button.
Perfect. It's working.
Okay.
I got my button.
Okay. Somehow it's on your screen is delaying, but.
Oh, title.
Maybe it's just not dating yet. Oh, now it's gone.
No errors.
So right now we have 2 text input, 1 button. So we resume the video, resume the recording. So we were just talking about how has it been going so far, and Sonia says okay, but right now we are gonna enter into a real core part of this project. That is, how do we actually get the computer to calculate something, right? For now, we are just basically telling the computer to display us some stuff, right? Two text input, 1 button. That's it. But how do we actually get the numbers that someone who put into the text input? That comes into play. Again, let me think about which one should go first. Let's do the button first. How do we tell the computer to do something when somebody click a button, right? That seems to be the first step, right? The computer has to know somebody has clicked a button and I should do something, right?
Yeah. Right.
So in the button right now, if you click on the button, it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. Because it has only one property. That's the title, and it says calculate, but it doesn't know what does it mean by calculate.
Right.
So apart from giving it a title, we need to give it another property called onPress. Just like this, onPress, and then it equals to
something.
Equals to some sort of action, right? It's this time it's not gonna be in double quote because it's an action.
Yeah.
And we need a curly bracket. Just one layer curly bracket.
Okay.
And then we say this dot handle click.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with this.
Now it looks a little bit weird. What does it mean by this? So this means this screen, or in our case, this whole app, because our app has only one screen, right?
Right.
So this referring to this screen and dot handle click, and apparently we didn't define what handle click is. So it's the things that we want the computer to do when somebody press this button, right? In order to define handle click, we need to go back one layer up. Remember we said that export default and then class app extend, this sort of thing is telling computer to give me a screen, right? And the render function right here, it's telling computer to render me a view, some sort of visualized component. But computer apparently can do more than that. It can do calculation. So we need to give it some more function apart from rendering.
Right.
And in this case, we need a function that handle clicks. So let's do.
So we're defining a function which would be called handle click.
Exactly.
Basically.
So we do handle click. The name that we just told computer we are gonna do. We promised the computer there's gonna be a thing called handle click. So we need to tell it define the handle click right now. Now the syntax is gonna become a little bit incomprehensible, and I don't really want to go into the detail of that, but what you need to do is basically equals to an empty bracket.
So it's a parameter place.
Yeah. So it tells computer, okay, to do handle click, you don't need anything else. You need nothing. That's why there's an empty bracket. And you take empty and then give it a bracket. Let's say do the following things. Following thing is, let's do a real easy one. Let's do an alert that it's basically shows a pop-up on your phone. Alert. Literally.
So is it a text? Alert is a text, right?
Alert. Look, it's a text. Alert.
Is it a syntax or it's?
It's a predefined function for
so it shows
for
a message.
mobile phone, right?
Okay.
And you put in braces.
In curly braces?
No, just regular braces.
This one?
No. The one with like
the brackets.
Yeah, brackets, and then say
quotes. Hi.
Hi. Let's say hi or anything.
Okay.
Anything you want. And right now, if we go back to our computer,
okay,
and we click on calculate, it's going to give you an alert.
Yeah.
And it says hi, right? It basically says whatever we put into this alert, right?
Right.
So, right, we now give a way to let computer do something whenever we click a button. So,
right,
what's next to do a BMI calculator? We need a way to grab the input. Right. So it must have something to do with the text input component we did before. Let me see how to explain this. Now there's a really important concept coming up. Before we go into that, so any problem at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was thinking one step after this, that how the computer would recognize what we are entering here and what we're entering here, and then how it's going to process here. And it's going to render here after when we click the button, basically.
Right. That's why we need a sophisticated thing behind this. That is, a computer right now, it basically has no memory. It's a very statically giving us things that we say, well, you should be displaying. But in the actual way, just think about it, the computer has to have some sort of memory space to remember what is the current state of this application, or I mean, what's the height right now in this bracket. It needs to have a separate bracket or a bucket to store what's the weight, what's the height of this person that is putting into.
Yeah, so we're creating an array, are we?
We are creating a variable. We are creating a variable to put something into.
Yeah. And,
so,
which stores the value, I guess, of this.
The way to do this in React Native, it doesn't look as straightforward. So remember, everything we do will be within this app extend React component thing, because it's the whole app. It's the scope of our application. So right after that, we define something called a constructor.
Okay.
A constructor looks like this. Constructor, normal brackets, braces.
Constructor. Oh wait, constructor.
You're right, because it turned into orange. That means you recognize it.
Okay.
And you pass into a parameter. Called props. Again, this is something beyond the scope of this tutorial. You just have to take it for granted right now. Yeah, and then you put into a super function to super and take into the parameter of props.
Props and then column.
No. You open a new statement.
Okay.
Right. Open a new statement and you say super props.
Okay, so, and this is within handle click.
No, this is separate from handle click.
Oh, okay.
So handle click is done there, and before we even defining handle click, we need to give the computer some space, some sort of memory to remember what is the current state right now.
Okay.
What does it?
Right. Okay.
Where are we now? So this constructor, as it sounds like, it's defining some sort of state when the app starts. So what should it look like when this app starts initially? It's basically an initializer. You should understand it in that way.
Oh, you said super props, right? That's what we're supposed to enter.
Yep. Constructor, super props.
Okay.
So these two lines of code, take it for granted, and then you need to start to say, this is dot state. This is real important. This is defining what the initial stages looks like. What is the initial stage or initial state the app is when the person opens an app. And if you copy and paste this code, you see initially, of course, the height should be null.
Why? Because we have a height of the screen, right?
Because we haven't put in anything. Of course, it should be now. It should be like empty. Now here state basically means nothing and empty.
But
yeah.
Wait. So are we defining height here? Like height, the text which we are putting up in the placeholder, in the text input. Is this the height we are talking about?
No, at this point, the text input down there has no idea what weight is or what height is. The app in the initial state, in the initializing process, it knows, okay, now we have a state. The state has a one layer deeper state called height and weight and BMI. That is, say, take a step back. Think about what do we need for BMI calculator to work. We need a place to store height, and we need a place to store weight, and we also need a place to store the BMI. Calculated BMI.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what we are doing. Defining the first three things there before we even do anything. Just give it free space.
Right.
And okay. That's why we are doing this sort state. And of course, initially, two things: unknown, and of course, BMI is also unknown as well. And this wouldn't change anything on your outlet, on your outlooking of the app. It does nothing. It simply internally gives the computer an idea. Okay, listen, there's three things that you need to calculate afterwards. So remember that and leave it some space. We're gonna put something back into it later on. And now there are really multiple stuff that we are handling right now. How React Native work is in render function. In the render function, it's basically like drawing, right? Initially, we draw something on the screen, but apparently the drawing or the display of the app needs to be updating according to the state of the application. That means if somebody put a height into the text field, or right now we calculate the BMI, we need to update the screen and say now we have a different BMI and display that, right? So the way to show that is on our layout, we have nowhere to show people the calculated BMI. So let's do it now. And after this component, you will know what do I mean by the app is constantly updating its display by looking at if we have changed the state.
Okay.
It sounds complicated right now, but let's do one more component in the rendering function. Let's just do another text. And this time the text...
It will be within view, right?
Yeah, it will be within
view, right after
within
button.
View, yes, right after button or before button, it doesn't matter. It's just going to change the order. You put in text.
Text
Component, just as the text before. You can copy actually the previous text we have.
Okay.
BMI calculator. The whole thing. Right, let's copy the whole thing. The whole thing, like right here. And you, wait, okay. But instead, this time, instead of BMI calculator, we want this BMI value to be the actual BMI value and constantly updating value. The way to do that is let's delete BMI calculator here, and we put in curly braces, which means we are going to do something logical here instead of static hard-coded value. You say this.state.bmi.
Okay, so we are referring to that particular...
Yeah, we're referring to the BMI that we told in the very beginning of the initialization of the app.
Right.
That is...
I should put it
you should put it into lowercase.
Exactly the way it is here.
Exactly the way it is. That way we know if we go back to our computer now, it has unknown BMI. Why does it know to display unknown BMI? Let's go back and change our initialization stage into BMI unknown 22, something, just something.
Yeah.
And it's gonna display
22.
what you told it to.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
The cool thing about React Native is it knows when the state has changed, it updates the screen. So remember, you see, we have this. We didn't tell the computer to refresh the screen.
We didn't.
It automatically do that because we changed the state. Every time we change the state of the app, it knows to update the display of things because it must be, right. So right now, what we are lacking right now.
We need a height and weight. We need a formula to calculate.
Right, exactly. And let me see which one goes first. Let's go back into text input.
Really? Okay.
You see, text input has a placeholder. It has a style, but it seems something fundamental is missing.
Yeah.
For this text input.
It is.
It is value.
Value. Yeah.
Because there's a placeholder, there's a style, but we are inputting something into this text input. It should have a value, right?
Should.
So the value would be
value. Is it like we specify the input type or something like that?
There's a way you specify your input type into maybe numeric or string only.
Yeah.
But because I really want to minimize the property that we need for this tutorial. So
so we don't need to identify the input type here.
So by default, it gives you all possible input types. Of course, we can specify or we can constrain the input type to be only numbers, or so that people don't put into like names into right. There's a way to constrain that, but let's for now just leave it. And we need a value property actually.
And what does this property do?
This property stores a value. It's a, how do I put this? Let's just take it for granted and put in some code and see if that makes sense, right? For the value property, we need to put in this .state.height for the first input text.
Get it. This .state. So whatever we have in the initializer here, this value would take that thing from upstairs.
Right. That's initially. Initially, the value would be whatever we told the app.
Yeah.
Initialize in constructor.
Yeah.
In constructor function, we told the initial value should be this .state.height, which is null, because initially, of course, it's null.
Null. Yeah.
And whenever we type into something on our screen and say something, this value is gonna change.
Okay, but here I'm getting an error. Could you see that? I mean, do I need to put it in a
value equals? It's equals, not colon.
Yes.
And you need to put in curly braces for the sake of referring to a logical part of things.
Well, this .state.height. Yes, this .state.
.weight.
Okay. And then the same thing will we do for the weight placeholder. I mean weight in text input.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was weight. Oh, sorry, weight. Okay, I'll change it. This is height and this is weight.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have like some sort of way to communicate between the logical calculation part of the app and then the display part. So, because
we do not have the calculation part yet, do we?
Well, the handle click is going to be the calculation part. Or this whole constructor thing is part of the calculating part.
Right.
Because that's why we need a space to store the values. Right. So remember, this value property gives you ability to store whatever the people is putting into their bracket, into the text field, and it's going to be stored into this value property. But initially, it's going to be this dot state dot height.
Yeah. So, but when we change this initial value, say if we change this from null to some number here, or
you can try that. That's the beauty of programming. If you try change, let's say height, let's put it 12, okay? And
yeah,
I cannot preview here, but
yeah,
let's preview. I'm waiting on the line again, but on your phone, on my phone, I will be able to see 20 line right after.
No, I'm still saying BMI unknown, and I put initial value as 1.5, initial value weight as 80.
It doesn't show.
It doesn't because no, it doesn't show up here.
Okay, so that's
so like, oh wait, I'm just putting in the number. No need of inverted column.
No. I see what's wrong here, but let me pause the video and think about how to do this.
80 means 80 as a number, but when it's there in a string, I'm just telling computer, look at this shape of 8 and 0. I don't care about the value. Don't recognize the math.
Just interpret it as
it's just a shape.
As characters.
Yeah, as characters. Yeah, simple.
So also now, and I was thinking is, so what would happen if we didn't say null and instead we say 12 initially? And what will happen is the app is going to say, before we even put in anything, that input text is going to have a 12 there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is okay, but it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It just shows you internally what is going on.
Yeah.
It takes whatever we say up there and display it as value.
Yeah.
So let's put it back into null because initially it should be like empty. It should be nothing, right?
Yeah.
And now we need to introduce the very last property into text input that we need to complete this app. That is, how does the computer know when the text field is being changed, and at the same time the text is being changed, and it needs to notify the computational part of app to, hey, now we change the text into this text field, and please change the state of this app. Instead of now it has some other value, right? It has something else. The way to do it is we add one more.
I'm just guessing.
Guess what? It's pretty straightforward. The naming, the way to name it, it's called on text change, on change text.
On change text. Oh, there it is. On change text. Is it the one?
Yeah, because if it suggests you, it's a good one. On change text, and again,
what is wrong with this? I'm getting an error message.
Because you didn't put in the complete thing in there. So on change text, that means whenever the text is being changed, do this.
Okay.
Let me make it a little bit bigger. Maybe not.
It's okay. I get it. On change text.
On change text, do something.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the things to do?
Props. Okay.
Get height, and then put it into this dot state dot height.
Yeah. This dot state dot.
I'll just let you finish copying that and then explain what is going on here.
Height. This dot state
dot height. Set state. No,
it's
this dot set state, and then square normal curly bracket, and then curly bracket, and then height.
Okay, so it's like
set state.
This,
yep, and
this,
and then finishing. So, got anything? And then like one more curly bracket.
What?
to close
this one, right?
Yeah, to close this one, you need a variable, and so what this does, actually the height right here, here, it doesn't have to be height. It could be anything, could be value, could be anything. But all this line of code is doing is take the value of this text input, call it height, and then set the state of this whole app, the state of height, to be the value of the text input. So
it basically changes this value.
Yeah, it changes this value
to whatever it's going on here.
To the value of this text input.
Text input, and we are calling it height. Basically.
Yes, we are calling it height because
okay.
on change text automatically give you an input of the value of the text input.
Automatically gives you the value of what is being given in the text input.
Yeah, whatever given in the input, it takes that and it gives you one parameter to put in, and you call it height. You can call it anything, but you just have to be consistent with.
Just wondering, had there been say 2 parameters? Okay, so had we been putting in 2 values, so comma, another parameter, blah blah blah, and then another this dot set state, and then we might have defined something up there.
Yeah.
And we would have like, okay, take this value and take this value from this parameter and change the state of that. Say, had that been, say, I don't know, age. Okay, so and say we would have defined age here, say, and age dot null, and then we would have said, okay, age. This dot set state age. Could that had been done, or we would have to repeat the whole thing, do another text input, do another thing that okay, this is age, and change the state of age, which we specified in the constructor above.
In the later part, it's possible, but the problem is one text input can only take one input. So we can put into multiple parameters, but we have only one coming up, so we can't somehow magically get 2 out of one input with one input. But what we can do is, let's say we have a text input of like of a name of first name and then surname, and we do something here that takes the whole name, and then we divided the whole name by chunking out the space in between, and then we get 2 input in by separating by space. So we got first name and then surname, and then we put in that separated value, that 2 constructed value into set state. In that case, in that case, our state will have like first name, surname, but we have only one text field, and we take one text field, the whole full name, but then we manually calculate that name, put the name into two fields, and then do the updating stage. But yeah, that's not gonna be that advanced in the workshop anyway. But the idea is that. So
right now we are linking this.
Now we are actually linking the app's memory and at the same time the text input. So right now, if we type something, it should stay there, and at the same time the app knows now my height is actually not now anymore, it's something else. To verify that, we can use the alert function we created earlier, because we told it to say hi, right? But right now, instead of saying hi, we can use that function to let us know, can you just alert us the height of this thing? That is, instead of alerting height, we alert this .state .height. Right. You're typing it wrong. So So that should do if we change our height here into, let's say, 22.
Oh, get it.
And calculate.
Yeah. So whatever we are putting it in here, they are giving us this. It is giving us. It is alert is just throwing it back on us. Yeah.
I think I didn't get it updated, but
it's working for me.
It's working for you?
Yeah.
Somehow it's not working for me on this simulator.
It's and
so giving you
now you can feel that whatever you're putting in up here, computer is recognizing it. Okay, this is the value. It's here,
yep.
And it's in this alert. It's just throwing it back.
Yeah, maybe I didn't save this. So let me try this again. It still gives me null somehow. Maybe I didn't change that.
Can I write anything else than props here, or it's a defined word?
It's a defined word. It's a defined word.
Basically, it's a parameter, isn't it?
It's the props there will get involved only if this app or this component is a component of other things. Like imagine a very sophisticated app. It has multiple screens, it has multiple functions, it has a BMI calculator, but at the same time it has other calculators. It has like a million calculators in one single app. And so whenever the outer app, the main bigger app jumps into this screen and it has some sort of things that it wants to pass into this sub app, it will do it through here.
Okay.
So it would be like we have a calculator and a calculator of many kinds, and it has in the very out layer or the very main entry of the app, it says, okay, your name. It asks for your name. Let's say so now, and then it could pass that name through props, and then so that in this like trial trial component or trial app, it will be able to take that Sonel as an input, so it can do things with the name Sonel here.
Okay.
So even though this app has no idea what the heck Sonel is, and it can get the input from props, that is its parents, and then it can do something with the props.
Got it.
But because this we're using a single page app, and it wouldn't involve that thing at all. But somehow my thing here wouldn't allows me to update. And I assume I have.
Did you do this dot state dot height?
This, yeah. This state. Let me pause it and figure out why. So I figure out I accidentally put the height on text change property into the weight one, so that's why I wouldn't update. So right now, let me see this. So get rid of this, and then update. So right now, if I put in height 22, no, I can't. Or maybe just some random text. It's gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, it's throwing up. Okay.
So same logic applies to other field as well. All we need to do is copy the same line of code and then change it into change it here into weight, right?
On change text.
Yep, onto weight. For weight, right?
Yeah.
So we get two values now.
On change text till which part? Till this part, I guess.
Yep.
Value. Okay.
So you now see we have a way we are already getting two input into the handle click function.
Okay, there's a problem here. Whatever I'm putting in weight, it's just getting copied in both height and weight.
Because you didn't change this into weight.
Sorry. It's the same name, which is being carried out, and this.
And then there should be weight as well.
Okay, and we haven't yet told handle click. Oh, what is handle click going to do in that?
Handle click is whatever the computer should do when you click calculate, right?
I was just thinking, right now it is not doing anything with what I'm inputting.
Yeah,
in the
it's
wait
just
section. It's just dealing
except
with the
alerting. Except alerting. Right?
Yeah, it's just and it's just alerting me the message, alerting me about the text, whatever I'm getting into the height text input, not in the wait text input.
Yeah.
Why so? Oh, okay. I can create another alert, I guess.
Yeah, you can create another alert for sure. So
which would say.
So let's create another alert to see that we're actually getting two things.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and we put height. Let's put in a number. Just put for the sake of making sense. But actually, it doesn't make sense that I'm 56 meters tall. But anyway.
Okay, now
it gives you two alerts.
It's giving me the same alert all the time. It's only giving me the no, it is giving me the two alert.
You need to put okay. So once you put calculate, it gives you two.
Oh.
It will give you like first okay. Oh, you didn't call it twice, I think. Can you see that?
What is wrong here?
Wait, let's see. Alert 45.
For a moment it was giving me 46, but now it's not. This is crazy.
Let's say white value. Can you scroll one line down? So wait, how's that state? Doesn't look like any problem here. So can we go up there and see if you actually have waiting line? You do. And
it was working actually. Now, and see now 46 came up.
I think the problem is you was clicking calculate way too many times, so it stacked. The alert was stacking onto each other. That's what I think was the case. So if we change this and change this and do calculate, nothing because it's nothing.
No, yeah,
no problem. But
give it a number.
Can I give it something? And then
yeah, it is there. It is there.
But
no, it doesn't vanish. It doesn't. You just type.
Oh.
You just type and it will go away.
Oh, okay. I see.
15.
Oh, somehow it's just alerting once on your phone. These sort of states.
Do we need any separator from here to here?
No. That's gonna give you syntax error. Please.
It hasn't.
No. It's that's not how it works.
69.
Let me pause and do some debugging for you.
GHD height underscore const square.
Yeah.
Times height underscore const height square. Can I put it in brackets so that it doesn't mess up? HEIGHD.
Yeah. Or actually, you can do height and then add this like arrow up thing.
Yeah.
So,
I forgot. Yeah, that's more elegant.
Yeah, that's like.
How do you do this arrow up symbol?
Shift 6.
Oh yes, Shift 6.
And then 2.
Yeah,
that means to the power of 2.
To the power of 2 divided by weight.
Is it weight divided by height of square or?
Height of. Oh yeah, weight divided by height of square. Okay, I'll fix it. So, weight.
No, we should fix that now. So yeah, I forgot to record. So I will just repeat a little bit. So we put these two state value into a separated value.
Yeah.
Called height and weight. And so the thing to remember is now we are doing a copy of height from this dot state of height, and this height is not the same as this height. This height is getting constantly updating by users' input, and this one in the cycle of this method it doesn't change, right? that's why we can do calculation, and we create another variable called BMI equals to weight divided by height to the square. That's it. And we put a bracket there so it knows to do this first.
Right.
So why don't we just alert this BMI first? Alert BMI. BMI.
So we don't need to get alerts from height constant and weight constant. All I need is alert.
Yeah. Alert bracket BMI.
Oh yeah. BMI. Yeah. Done, I guess.
So should just give us something. Something to keep in mind is that because we didn't restrict user's input. If user put into string and the computer tries to calculate to the power and division on a string, it's not going to work. It's going to give you an error or crash. So at this stage, make sure you put into some number for calculation.
Height is 4 divided by 64. I should get 16 as the answer. Infinity. Why? So what we are doing is height, weight divided by height square. So whatever I'm putting in this dot state dot height, this is height. Okay, height, say I'm putting in 2 as my value, and weight is, I'm just trying to figure if this formula is working.
Yeah. We should, let's say we have height is 2 meters.
Okay, and weight is say 80.
Okay, let's do 80.
So apparently it should give us 20 as our BMI, but it's just giving me infinity.
In kilogram, let me see.
That should not matter here.
Okay, it's giving me infinity. Maybe my formula is wrong here. Is it? BMI formula. Let's Google.
This is the right formula of BMI.
This is wrong. This is right.
Yeah. Height in meters square, height or whatever, meters. Then whatever you give me or height, I just square it.
Right, you should give me 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4, and then whatever your weight is, I'll take the weight and divide it by your height square.
Right, let me do this again. 2 and then calculate infinity. Okay, that's the problem we have earlier, right?
It is calculating, but wait, see, now it is giving me an answer when I'm flipping it over. When I'm putting the weight in the height box and I'm putting the height in the weight box, 0.024. Wait, I guess that what it is doing is 0.02, right? So I think it is doing 80 square, 6400, and it is like, wait, 2 divided by 6400. Oh no, it is not doing this. I don't know how come the app is coming up with this number.
Let's because that's what debugging comes into play, right? Let's alert our
height constant and weight constant.
Yeah, let's alert our height and then alert our, because sometimes very deep there will be a problem that I perceive, but it's hard to explain. But let's just print height and weight and see what it would be. And 2 meter, 80 kilogram.
2 meter, 80 kilogram.
80 to
no, I'm getting infinity 80. So there is something wrong with my height placeholder, height text input again.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
I'm getting 2 first, and then weight 80, and then further, and then I don't get right. So let's do this, do that. I will try to fix your problem later on.
I'm getting, okay, so I'm not getting this alert at all. like this alert BMI. I'm getting alert height constant, alert weight const.
Right.
Just for a second, I want to go one step back.
There could be a problem because our input is a string, and then
it is a string.
Because when we type into things, and we pass it into this .state.height, it's a string. It's not a number. You know what I mean? So could be the thing could be that before we assign it into height, we need to cast it into a number. So let me do
JS. You need to what?
Cast string into int. It's very possible. Pass int. So sorry for Googling. You know, I'm Google-oriented programmer.
Variable num1, variable num2, no.
So apparently there's a thing called pass int text. Oh wait, mathematical system facts never shows, but string to constant number base using reference should always be.
It returns 42.
So that means like decimal system. 10 means decimal system. So right now, if we try it, before we put it into pass, let's do pass int. Let's do this.
In curly braces or in regular brackets?
Regular. Whenever we do a function, it's
regular.
Braces. It's a braces. Yeah. So let's do.
Why are we writing 10 here again?
To signify that you are converting into decimal system. That means like, you know what decimal system is, like 1 to 10, and then you advance 1.
Oh, it's saying it's not defined. PASSINT.
Parse. PARSE.
PARSE.
Hi.
Ooh.
Parse int. So right now, if I do this again, and height 2, weight.
No, it's
280. Well, somehow it doesn't give me BMI as well. Let me try this again.
Parse int, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I mean, so far it was doing pretty good. Whatever I was throwing in, it was giving me out, but somehow it's not working out.
Must be a thing that I was missing. Weight. What's the weight? 80. Infinity. Somehow he thinks this is infinity. Two. So VM. I think what's going on here. Yeah. JS cast int to class number. The thing I'm suspecting is that we calculate something, right? BMI is a number for JS, and then we try to, but we should be able to display number on alert as well. Talk to string. Let me try this.
The weight button is working perfectly. I mean, the weight input. I mean, whatever I'm throwing it in, it is taking it in and throwing it back when I'm doing alert.
Let me just try this one more time to see. Again, infinity. This is very confusing. I need to pause my video. So we figure out the problem. That is, we should not use that upper arrow operator. In JavaScript, it means something else. In Python and C and a lot of other languages, it means to the power. But here, it means XOR. So
that's interesting. Like what we should do when we want to say to the power.
Yeah, let's Google it like 1 second later. I just want to finish this video
sure.
to show people that this is working if we just change that upper arrow operator into a normal regular times or multiple sign, multiple height by itself, and then we use way to divide that number. We alert our number out. And remember to cast the BMI into a string. The end result will be, now if we do this, what do we call it? 2 meters, and then we say we are 80 kilogram, and we calculate. Boom! It first tells us our height and our weight, and then what? Okay, let's get rid of this because we don't want this to be on our way. And then
it's kind of terrifying.
It is. Live coding always fail. That's a rule of thumb. So 80 again, and it gives us 20, which is fine.
Perfect.
So somehow the alert function is kind of confusing the app, confusing the phone. Like when you do multiple alerts, it start to confuse like which number should I put into. But that's fine. Let's just do one alert one by one, and then check everything is okay, and then alert once. And so that's pretty much all the fundamental we have for now. A lot of basic concepts has been shown in this type of app. We know what variable is and how do we store some sort of state into an app, and then so we can change that later on and use that to realize a updated display. And we also know how to alert things out. We know how to get text input from user. And now we're doing a calculator, but you can imagine you can use these techniques and some other stuff to stack into a very sophisticated software. So I will just end the video here because we are done with this BMI calculator, and I hope James will like this.
Yeah.